and welcome to the webinar. So starting university is very exciting, but many students may feel anxious of what's ahead and may worry whether they will be able to cope with their studies and life at university. Today, we are going to look at what support disabled students can expect while in higher education, and more specifically, if they study at Middlesex University. So there are two main ways a disabled student can get support for their studies. And it is important to take advantage of both support packages so that you can make the best of your time at university. Firstly, Middlesex provides a range of support services, for example, exam concessions and other reasonable adjustments. The second package to make yourself aware of is the support provided by the government. It is called Disabled Students Allowances, or DSA for short. Disability advisors at Middlesex can provide confidential one-to-one appointments to discuss the support you might need and will ensure that relevant information is communicated to staff who need to know, with your permission, of course. For instance, if a student needs special considerations for their exams, the disability advisors will recommend these to the examinations team. Other examples include the provision of ergonomic equipment for the lectures and seminars, or extended library loans. The Disability and Dyslexia Service at Middlesex University is based in Sunhill House, as is the Counselling and Mental Health Service. Now, due to COVID, at the moment, these services are available only online, by phone, by email, but hopefully in September, we'll reopen again. So another service that you might find very useful at Middlesex is the counselling and mental health provision. This service provides specialist support, advice and guidance for anyone struggling with their mental health or well-being. Our mental health advisors work with students who have a mental health diagnosis, including liaison and referral to external agencies. Our counsellors offer therapeutic work both on a one-to-one and group basis, and also offer faculties a number of workshops on different topics that may be relevant to the students' cohort. All sessions are confidential, so you don't have to worry about what is being discussed. There's also the opportunity for students to maintain their health and well-being and gain support through other ways, including Big White Wall, the Fika app, and Canine Assistant Drop-In and Autism Drop-In. We have close links with other many external agencies in the local borough and nationally, so that we make sure that our students get all the support that is appropriate for them. As I said, these services are based in Sunhill House, and you can see a picture of Sunhill House, which is a small bungalow building on campus. And as mentioned previously, the campus is now closed, and our services are available online by phone or email. You can see their contact details, and you can contact us straight away. We're open 9 to 5, but also we hope from September to reopen on campus. And now let's look at the support by the government, the Disabled Students Allowances, or DSA for short. The DSA is a grant to help eligible students in higher education access learning. The DSA is in the form of support services, not financial help. And as the DSA is a grant, you don't have to pay it back. To be eligible, you need to be a home UK student. Unfortunately, international and EU students are not eligible for DSA. You have to have a disability, a long-term medical condition, a specific learning difference, or mental health difficulties to be eligible. For example, all of these conditions, along with many others, may make you eligible for the DSA grant. These conditions fall into several groups: specific learning differences such as dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD, dyscalculia, and dysgraphia, mental health difficulties like depression, anxiety, or OCD, and also long-term conditions like diabetes, sickle cell, lupus, epilepsy, but also visual and hearing impairments, and of course, disabilities that affect someone's mobility, for example, arthritis. In summary, the DSA grant would be considered for any condition that has a substantial, long-term, and adverse effect on the student's ability to carry out normal day-to-day activities. And long-term means you will have had the condition for more than 12 months. If you're not sure how to apply or would like some advice, you can contact us at the Access Center, or you can contact the disability team at Middlesex University. However, if you prefer, you can just Google DSA on Middlesex University's website or on the government's website. But we are here to help you if you have any questions. At North London Regional Access Centre, or the Access Centre, we carry out DSA study needs assessments to ensure students receive the right support for them. We also provide advice and guidance on your individual DSA support package. Now, let's have a look at 3 example DSA support packages designed for individual students by our experienced needs assessors. These examples are from our video, which you can watch in full after the webinar. So the first student we are going to look at is Patrick, who has dyslexia and back pain. And this is what his support package looks like. One-to-one study skills support with a dyslexia specialist tutor. Assistive software that turns speech into text for his essays. Mind mapping software to help him plan his course assignments. A reading pen that will scan text and read it out loud to him. A standard laptop, a combined printer and scanner, and IT training to help him learn how to use this assistive software. And let's have a look at Khalida, who has anxiety. And this is what her support package looks like. One-to-one support with a specialist mentor to help her with exam anxiety. Taxi to university when her anxiety makes traveling difficult for her. Assistive software that can read text out loud for her, and assistive software to help her with her organization. And of course, she will receive some training for the software. Now, the third student we are going to look at is John, who has sickle cell and arthritis. And this is what his support package looks like. An adjustable desk and chair for him to study at home, an ergonomic keyboard and mouse, note-taking software and a digital recorder to help him with his note-taking, speech-to-text software to help him with assignments, a standard laptop and specialist IT training, and also taxi to university when he feels too unwell to travel. So, just to recap, the DSA can help with one-to-one support by a specialist, study skills tutor or mentor, or a British Sign Language interpreter if the student has hearing impairment. DSA can assist with in-class support for visually impairment students as well, and it can help with travel from university and back home, and also travel to field trips, meetings, or maybe various visits that the student has to make while at university. The grant can also help with specialist ergonomic equipment and furniture for studying at home. It also pays for the assistive technology, like the various types of software we mentioned. For instance, if you have reading difficulties associated with dyslexia, we can recommend a software package which reads from the computer. So you don't have to worry about reading from your monitor or maybe from a book. Another piece of software that can type your assignments if you dictate it into the computer, because some students struggle to type up their essays. They know what they want to say, they just can't start typing, or maybe because they have a pain in their hands. Of course, these are just examples. There's a wide range of assistive technology that we can recommend for you depending on your individual learning needs. And of course, don't forget the DSA package will be as unique as you. And now let's have a look at the DSA process. First, you need to collect the evidence that you have a disability, a learning difference, or another long-term condition. This evidence may be a letter from your GP or from another medical professional. If you feel you are dyslexic, but you don't have diagnostic reports, and the diagnostic report is the medical evidence for specific learning differences, you can contact the university because we'll be able to help you. So the second step is to apply for the DSA. If you're applying for your course fees online, why not apply at the same time for the DSA? And if you need help, contact the disability advisor or us at North London Regional Access Centre, and we will be happy to advise you. Number 3 would be when you have applied already and you have submitted your evidence, the DSA team at your funding body will send you a letter, or they will email you the letter. And if you are approved for the DSA grant, the letter will advise you to book a study needs assessment at a registered centre, like our centre. And then you can book the appointment online. You can contact us and we can easily do that for you. Our contact details will be at the end of the presentation. Now, the study needs assessment. It is a confidential assessment meeting between you and an experienced assessor. Don't worry, this is not going to be a test. It is only a conversation between you and your assessor, who will ask you a lot of questions about the difficulties you have when you study. And the conversation will be rather informal, so there's absolutely no need to worry about it. In the session, the assessor will show you different types of software packages, ergonomic equipment, or other gadgets that might be of help to you. Together with the assessor, you will agree on the recommendations for support that will go into your study needs assessment report. After the assessment meeting, your assessor will write a confidential report detailing the difficulties and support recommendations discussed in your meeting. We will send you a copy of the report and we will submit another copy to the funding body for their consideration, because they are the ones that have to agree the funding towards the recommendations we've made in the report. Once these recommendations are approved by the DSA team, you will receive another letter, which is the Dsa Award Letter, and it will list all the support that the DSA will pay for. Please read this letter and contact all the support suppliers listed in it. If you're not sure what to do at this stage or at an earlier stage of your application process, you can contact your disability advisor at your university, Middlesex, for example. Hopefully you'll come to Middlesex, or you can contact us at North London Regional Access Centre and we'll be happy to help you. Please remember, the responsibility to apply for DSA is yours. Don't wait. The process may take 3 months or more from application to support, especially if you don't have the medical evidence or diagnostic reports. So what we would advise you is to start the DSA application as soon as possible in order to get the support as early as possible. Now, if you feel you have enough medical evidence for one condition, but you don't have for another condition, let's say you want to apply for dyslexia as well, but you don't have your diagnostic report, apply for the first condition where you have the medical evidence. For example, if you have a long-term medical condition or mental health condition that you have a doctor's letter for, apply for that, and then we can top up your support package once you have the medical evidence for dyslexia or your other condition that you haven't applied for yet. Okay, so what do you need to consider before before you even go into university? Think about, do you think you might benefit from additional learning support on your course? It's better to be prepared earlier than later. So if you think you might benefit from support and you have a condition, you should start the process as soon as possible. Try to get this medical evidence together. Talk to your GP, or if you're not sure, talk to the disability advisor at university. And if you have the evidence, just send it on to the Disabled Student Allowances team, the DSA team at your funding body. And again, if you feel that you don't have everything together for all your medical conditions, if you have more than one, start with the condition you have the evidence for. We can top up the rest later. Okay, so our assessment centre, North London Regional Access Centre, is based on campus when we are open, of course, in Shepherd Library, and this is a picture of Shepherd Library. It is very easy to find us once we're on campus, and now while we're online, you can always contact us by email, or you can ring us and we can carry out your study needs assessment remotely via video links such as Zoom, like this. Of course, when we open, you'll be more than welcome to visit us at any time during your studies. If you have any questions, you can drop in to the center or you can call us and we'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, so, and just to remind you, this is what Sunny Hill House looks like. This is where the disability team and the counseling teams are based. These are their contact details. Now, at the moment, like us, they work remotely, so you can just contact them online. Okay, so are there any questions? I would be more than happy to respond to any questions that you have. Thank you very much for listening. It was really lovely to speak about what we have to offer here at Middlesex University. So I'm here for questions.
We've got two questions
Good.
coming in, so I'll just read them out to you. So the first one is that this person's GP is charging them about £35 for that letter that you mentioned. Is there any help available for that cost, or is there a way to get that letter from the GP without that cost?
It's a tough nut to crack, I must say, because a lot of students are complaining and some GPs are actually charging a lot more than £35. Unfortunately, the DSA does not cover this, the medical evidence. It's the student's responsibility to obtain the medical evidence. I mean, you can contact your college or you can contact the university once you register, because if you are eligible for the hardship fund, there's a hardship fund that some students will be eligible to apply. You might try that way, but unfortunately, I can't give you a more positive answer here.
Thank you. And then there's another question. It says, I have a speech impediment that shows itself when I talk in public sometimes or do presentations. What kind of help is available for this situation?
We might be able to give you some software that will help you. What else? Maybe one-to-one with a mentor. It depends. It depends how this condition is affecting your learning. There is some software that helps with presentations.
Great, thank you. So another one, all of the questions are coming in now, which is really good.
Fantastic.
So what sort of services could someone with autism receive?
Okay, for autism, what we can recommend is one-to-one with a mentor who is a specialist in autism. So this person would meet with you regularly, maybe once a week, maybe every 2 weeks, or maybe twice a week, depending on how often the student needs to meet with the mentor. This will be decided in the study needs assessment. So the mentor would be helping you with, for example, strategies like maybe if you find communicating with people a bit of a challenge, they will set you goals, they'll give you strategies how to tackle that. Apart from the one-to-one support, what you will receive from DSA most likely is some software. So, for example, there is a software package called Brain in Hands, which we recommend not only for people with autism, but also students who have mental health difficulties, where there's a traffic light system on the app. It's an app that you upload on your mobile phone. And then depending on how you feel, you can get support from Brain in Hand. They have a whole team of specialists working on the other end, so they can help with any difficulties that you might experience right in that moment. You get training how to use the app. There's a lot of software. For example, students may need planning software, or maybe reading software. It depends really what kind of difficulty the student is experiencing, but definitely one-to-one, definitely software.
Great, thank you. Another question is, when can you book a study needs assessment?
You can book the study needs assessments once you have been approved by the DSA team. So, for example, you've applied for DSA and you've received an email with an attached letter asking you to book a study needs assessment. You don't have to have started university. You can apply as soon as, now you can apply now. We actually opened in February for students starting in September. So we have a lot of students who haven't started university yet. And they're already applying because they want their support package to be there for them at the beginning of their university experience. But don't worry if you don't have the medical evidence. Collect it and then you can apply at any stage of your course. What we would like you to do is apply as soon as possible and not wait until the end of the year. Or in many cases, students wait until year 3, and then it's far too late to put in any support that will have a positive impact on your learning experience.
Thank you. A couple of people have asked about the recording, so I'll just jump in on this one. Yeah, the recording will be sent to you. So it'll be sent to you tomorrow in an email. You're also able to access this recording pretty much after we finish today by clicking the link that you use to access the session right now, and you can watch it back on demand, but you will also get that in an email as well. There are lots of questions coming in now. So I have a dyslexia letter to prove my learning difference. What do I have to do in terms of showing it?
So you need to go onto the website, on the government website for DSA, and the application process is quite straightforward. You have to, I believe, email the medical evidence. They haven't actually created an uploading feature yet, but you can apply online and then email your medical evidence to dsa_team@slc.com. If you want, you can contact me directly and we can go through it in more detail together on a one-to-one.
Thank you. I think that might be the same for this question too. It says, how do I submit the medical evidence to the university? Who do I send the report to?
Okay, it's slightly different. So remember yes, remember there are two packages. There's the package for university where you get your reasonable adjustments. For example, if you need extra time for exams, or if you need special ergonomic chair for your lectures. So I would advise you to contact the disability team as soon as possible. In fact, the telephone number is slightly changed as from the last slide. It is 020-8411-5366. We'll send this round. It's the same number for the study needs assessment center, us. So contact the disability team and book a registration appointment. At that registration appointment, the disability advisor will look at everything that you need, not only what the university can provide for you, but also help you with your DSA application. Okay. And then once you have been approved for the grant, for the DSA grant, we can have a thorough study needs assessment to recommend the software and the equipment and the one-to-one support, because what the disability advisor can only recommend is reasonable adjustments like exam concessions, extra library loans, and maybe your lecturers and other staff at university to be aware that you have a condition. But the actual one-to-one with a specialist, and the software and the equipment comes from the government grant, the DSA. I know it's very, very complicated. What I would advise you is contact the disability advisor, because it's best to have a registration meeting as soon as possible before you start, because they can guide you through the process.
Great, thank you. So then we've got another one here. I have fibromyalgia, anxiety and depression. Which is the best route to go through for help and support?
Again, I would advise you to contact the disability advisor. Bring along to the meeting all your medical evidence for the long-term condition, for the mental health condition, and for the specific learning difference, because they would look at what you have and they'll put in a reasonable adjustment package just for you, which is unique to you, depending on what you need. And they would help you, they will help you with the DSA application.
Brilliant, thank you. And apologies if everyone can hear the rain batting down on the window there. Apologies for that. So you mentioned that the DSA can give us grants. How much can they give us?
Now, the grant is not in the form of money, it is in the form of support. So it will be around 25,000 per year.
Thank you. So what does the DSA recommend for dyslexia with essay writing? But is that maybe more a question of kind of what the university can provide as well? Or
the university, what the university will do is probably give you extra time. Maybe in college at school you got extra time for dyslexia, maybe about 25% extra for your exams. The university can also give you a learner support form, which lists the difficulties that you have, and this form goes to your lecturers so they're aware that you have these difficulties, and when they mark your work, they don't downgrade you for spelling errors, for example, because this is the dyslexia, it's not you. Now, this is what the university will do. The DSA will give you one-to-one with a specialist dyslexia tutor. It's called Study Skills. And in that one-to-one, the Study Skills tutor, dyslexia specialist, will teach you how to, for example, plan your essays, what strategies to use to, for example, do your introduction, how to basically write up your essays, and how to maybe do note taking in class. And of course, as it is one-to-one, it will be very, very student-centered. It will be about what you need in your first session with the specialist. Once you start the support, they'll put a plan together for you. So we are going to work on planning, we are going to work on exams, how to manage exams, how to manage your time. So this is the one-to-one. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, some students with dyslexia would struggle to write up their essays. They know exactly what they want to say. It's just once they look at the screen, at the blank page, they can't start, but they can say things. They can say the essay. So if you speak to the computer will type for you. This software is called Dragon, and it's very, very good. We receive absolutely amazing reviews from our students. What else? There's planning software that, for example, you can create a mind map, and you build that mind map with information that you want to include in your essay, and then you can transfer this into Word or another document. It is fantastic because you can include pictures, you can include references. It automatically references books for you. What else? Reading software. For example, a lot of students with dyslexia complain that when they read a book, the letters jump at them, or they're muddled. They can't actually follow the line. So a lot of the material at Middlesex, especially now since the beginning of the pandemic, is electronic, and there's software called Read and Write. So basically what it does, it reads to you. And you'll see a demonstration in your study needs assessment. So if you switch on the software and you open the book that you want to read, the software will read it to you. You don't have to even sit next to the computer. You can be doing something else and listening to your course materials maybe, or your research material. What else? There is something called a reader pen, a C pen. It looks like a pen. It scans something on your book, for example. Let's say a lot of students actually have placements. They don't have access to a computer, so they can't switch on the software that would read to them. The pen, if they use the pen, the reader pen can read to them. For example, if you come across a word that you've never seen before, if you scan it with the pen, the reader pen would read it into your headphones and then tell you what it means. And there are many other things like spell checking software, software that can change the background of your essay, for example. A lot of software for students with dyslexia. There's software that can help you with presentations. For example, if you're struggling to present to many people, you can have it on your you can have the app on your phone, and it will help you. It's called Present Pal.
Great, thank you. So there was a question earlier around having a speech impediment, which you were able to answer, but the person's also just added a bit of context. So their speech impediment, it's mainly more around the confidence issue. They said sometimes they feel like their mind's gone blank because they're concerned about their speech. Would they still be able to kind of get support, or if they've got, you know, a registered disability? Or
Yes, as long as the disability has been approved by Student Finance. So you definitely need to bring that medical evidence round and submit it to the DSA team, because we can't recommend anything without the medical evidence. They wouldn't basically release the funding.
Great, thank you. And also for someone with anxiety, what sort of help and support is available there?
For someone with anxiety, definitely will be one-to-one mentoring with a specialist mentor who would be working around things like maybe exam. You have exam anxiety. They'll be teaching you strategies how to overcome that, and you can meet with the mentor once a week, or maybe more regularly, or more seldom, depending on how often you need that type of support. Of course, all the software I mentioned so far, because if somebody is anxious about maybe presentations, as the previous student mentioned, but in the comfort of your own home, if you can speak to the computer, and then the software will help you type up the presentation. What else? It really depends on exactly what the issues are. But for someone with anxiety, again, Brain in Hand, that app I mentioned. What else? The planning software as well will be very helpful.
Amazing, thank you. So there are a couple of questions around like evidence for dyslexia. So I will go to those now. So someone said, I'm dyslexic and have had an assessment in the past, but it was 10 years ago roughly. They are doing a top up with us, but it is at the College of Animal Welfare in Leeds. So it's the top up vet nursing that we offer. Do they need to contact Middlesex or Leeds regarding like the assessment? And they've also got hypertension. So does this qualify for a doctor's letter for support? Do you know?
Yes, you should get a doctor's letter for that, for hypertension. Now, if you have dyslexia diagnostic report, at the moment, Student Finance actually accept all the reports. If it was written by a specialist, they should accept it. So what I would advise you to do is apply to DSA. If the worst that can happen is they'll say, well, you need that top up. So you're already in the process of providing this. And if you're planning to study at Middlesex, contact the disability advisors at Middlesex.
Fab, thank you. Someone's been assessed at college for dyslexia. Can they use that as proof?
It depends whether the report has been written by a dyslexia specialist, because we've seen students coming from college or school with it's not a full report that what they bring along. Not all, but some students bring along a report that was written maybe by a teacher, not by a dyslexia specialist. And student finance would accept only reports written by dyslexia specialists. So I would advise you to contact the disability team because they know exactly what type of report would be accepted by student finance, by the funding body.
Great, thank you. A couple of questions around having to pay back the grant from DSA. I think maybe a little bit of clarification just on how that works is going to be helpful. Yeah.
No, you don't have to pay it back. You don't have to pay it. The only time you might be asked to pay back a grant is if you, for example, decide not to register with the university. Let's say we assess you before your university course starts and you order the equipment, but then you decide to take a year out or not continue with higher education. That's why we always advise students, have your assessment now. And once you get your results, you're sure you're going into university, maybe early August, mid-August, whenever the results come out, then order the equipment. And it takes about 2 weeks for the equipment to arrive. If you are absolutely sure you're going in, if you have unconditional offer, definitely get it now. But that's the only time you'll be asked to pay back if you basically not register with the university. There is one more thing which I didn't include in the presentation, but as we're talking about money, now student finance would fund the software and they would fund part of the computer. Now, we're only allowed to make a recommendation for a Windows computer. We can't recommend a Mac, and Macs are much more expensive. Now, if you wish to get a Mac, and some students prefer Macs, they've always used Macs, you have an option of upgrading it at your own expense. So you find out how much it will cost from the equipment supply that will be assigned to you, and then you can pay the difference. And one more thing, when we recommend the computer, student finance would pay the only part of the computer. The first £200 of the cost of the Windows computer will have to be covered by the student. And this is because it is considered that every student at university, regardless of their ability, whether they are disabled or non-disabled, will need a computer in order to study. So just to set a baseline for everybody, if a disabled student is entitled to a computer, they have to pay the first £200 towards its cost, and the rest is covered by the DSA. So computers cost around £550, £600, something like that. So the first 200 you pay, and then the rest is paid by DSA. And then if you want a Mac, you pay a little bit more, well, a lot more, because Macs are usually over £1,000 or around that figure.
Thank you. I think that's really useful. So this person didn't really put a question down, but they've listed a few of their kind of conditions. I guess they're probably wanting to know what support is available. So they said they've got dyslexic tendencies. They've been diagnosed and have evidence for that. APD, so auditory processing disorder,
Okay.
working memory difficulties for more than 12 months. They've had anxiety and panic attacks as well. So might be useful for them to kind of know what support might be available to them as well.
Okay. So one-to-one with a specialist, dyslexia specialist, one-to-one with a mentor, reading software, spelling software, speech to text software. What else? Maybe brainy hands. Computer, if you don't have a good computer, we can recommend a standard basic laptop. Also, depending on how much your hearing is, if you have hearing, obviously, we can recommend something called the Roger pen, which is a pen that your lecturer will be wearing around their neck, and then you will hear what they're saying. You don't have to lip read, for example. For students who are profoundly deaf, we can recommend a British Sign Language interpreter. Also, for students with hearing impairment, they can get one-to-one specialist who is a specialist in hearing impairment, and you meet them once a week. But I don't think you have hearing impairment. I think you said auditory processing impairment, which is different. Again, all the software that I've mentioned, spelling software, maybe the reader pen. Again, I can say I can list everything, and then when you meet with the study skills assessor, with a study needs assessor, they would show you many more things, and we'll come to a decision together with you of what would be recommended.
Great, thank you. Someone said thank you. So that the information you've given has been really useful. Do EHC plans apply in university?
I believe so. Take it to the disability advisor. I'm not a specialist in this area, but a disability advisor would be able to advise you.
Okay, perfect. I think what might be useful towards the end is to put the contact details back up, if possible. Someone's also asked for the information for the University Hardship Fund, or is there a way they can find it online? And that would be helpful for
Yes,
them.
what I will do is send the contact details to Sophie, and she can email it to you and the welfare advice team, because we have a welfare advice team who will be able to answer questions around the hardship fund.
Perfect. Okay.
I mean, I can put the contact details. Just
no, it's fine. Send it round, and then when
okay.
in the email that goes out tomorrow, we can pass that around to you all. There's just two more questions. So, what help is there regarding a knee disability? I'm waiting for an operation, but wish to start uni in September. I just need help on starting the application.
So sorry, what disability?
They've got a knee disability. Didn't specify what, but
In
they're
the
waiting.
knee.
Yeah, they're waiting for an operation.
Okay. So if the condition has been accepted by student finance, ergonomic equipment. So you might be able to get a chair, leg rest, adjustable table, also occasional taxis to university if you're struggling on public transport.
Fab, thank you. Someone says, I have diabetes and I saw that it does qualify. What sort of package would be included in it?
Again, it depends what kind of software would be useful for you. Do you have to take medication while on campus? Do you live on student premises? Because we might be able to recommend fridge, depending on the medication that you take. Do you sometimes feel unwell and you need taxi to university or to placements? What else? It's mainly software. You might be able to get software, and potentially it depends how diabetes is affecting you. Potentially ergonomic equipment.
Great, thank you. One says, I have a hearing impairment and also a chronic reaction condition. Would I be allowed to apply for DSA?
Yeah, absolutely. Just go for it.
Perfect. And then, yeah, just another couple of thank yous. So I think that's it for the questions at the moment, but we are here until 5. So if you, do want to ask any questions, then please do. We will send around the contact details. We'll send around the recording as well, so that you have that. But yeah, please feel free to ask any more questions.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's been really good to meet you all, although I can't see you. It's great to have your questions. And I hope you choose Middlesex University. But even if you choose another university, we can still assess you for your DSA package because we can assess a student from any university.
That's really